story of Who Moved My Cheese was created by Dr. Spencer Johnson to help him deal with a difficult change in his life. It showed him how to take his changing situation seriously, but not take himself so seriously. When his friends noticed how much better life had become for him and asked why, he revealed his cheese story. Several said, sometimes, years later, how hearing the story helped them to get their sense of humour, to change, to gain something better themselves. His co-author of The 1 Minute Manager, Ken Blanchard, encouraged him to finally write it as a book to share with many others. 2 decades after the story was created, this book, Who Moved My Cheese, was published. It soon became an accelerating word-of-mouth #1 international bestseller, with 1 million hardcover copies in print within the first 16 months and over 10 million copies in the next 2 years. People have reported that what they discovered is in the story has improved their careers, businesses, health and marriages. The cheese story has found its way into homes, companies, schools, churches, the military, the sports teams and many more. It is spread around the world in many foreign languages. Its appeal is universal. Critics, on the other hand, do not understand how so many people could find it so valuable. They say the story is so simple and a child could understand it, and it insults their intelligence. possessing simple brains and good instincts, searched for the hard, nibbling cheese they liked, as mice often do. The two little people, hem and haw, used their complex brains, filled with many beliefs and emotions, to search for a very different kind of cheese, with a capital C, which they believed would make them feel happy and successful. would sit down to nibble on their cheese. One morning they arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered there was no cheese. They were surprised, since Sniff and Scurry had noticed the supply of cheese had been getting smaller every day. They were prepared for the inevitable and knew instinctively what to do. They looked at each other, removed the running shoes they had tied together and hung conveniently around their necks, put them on their feet and laced them up. The mice might not overanalyze things. To the mice, the people and the answer were both simple. The problem and the answer were both simple. The situation at Cheese Station C had changed, so Sniff and Scurry decided to change. They both looked out into the maze. Then Sniff lifted his nose, sniffed, and nodded to Scurry, who took off running through the maze, while Sniff followed as fast as he could. They were quickly off in search of new cheese. Later that same day, Hem and Haw arrived at Cheese Station C. They had not been paying attention to the small changes that had been taking place each day, so they took for granted the cheese would be there. They were unprepared for what they found. What? No cheese? Hem yelled. He continued yelling, no cheese, no cheese, as though if he shouted it enough, someone would put it back. Who moved my cheese? He hollered. Finally, he put his hands on his hips. His face turned red, and he screamed at the top of his voice, it's not fair. Haw just shook his head in disbelief. He too had counted on finding cheese at the Cheese Station C. He stood there for a long time, frozen with shock. He was just not ready for this. Hem was yelling something, but Haw didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to deal with what he was facing, so he just tuned everything out. The little people's behaviour was not very attractive or productive, but it was understandable. Finding cheese wasn't easy, and it meant a great deal more to the little people than just having enough of it to eat every day. Finding cheese was the little people's way of getting what they thought they needed to be happy. They had their own ideas of what cheese meant to them, depending on their taste. For some, finding cheese was having material things. For others, it was enjoying good health or developing a spiritual sense of well-being. For all, cheese meant feeling safe, having a loving family someday, and living in a cosy cottage on Cheddar Lane. To Hem, cheese was becoming a big cheese in charge of others and owning a big house atop Camembert Hill. Because cheese was important to them, the two little people spent a long time trying to decide what to do. All they could think of was to keep looking around cheeseless Station C to see if the cheese was really gone. While Sniff and Scurry had quickly moved on, Hem and Haw continued to hem and haw. They ranted and raved at the injustice of it all. Haw started to get depressed. What would happen if the cheese wasn't there tomorrow? He had made future plans based on this cheese. The little people couldn't believe it. How could this have happened? No one had warned them. It wasn't right. It was not the way things were supposed to be. Hem and Haw went home that night, hungry and discouraged. But before they left, Haw wrote scoffed. What would they know? Continued. They're just mice. They just respond to what happens. We're little people. We're smarter than mice. We should be able to figure this out. I know we're smarter, Ho said, but we don't seem to be acting smarter at the moment. Things are changing around here. Maybe we need started earlier, stayed longer, and worked harder. But after a while, all they had was a large hole in the wall. Hop was beginning to realise the difference between activity and productivity. Maybe, Em said, we should just sit there and see what happens. Sooner or later, they have to put the cheese back. He wanted to believe that. So each day he went home to rest and returned reluctantly with him to Cheese Station C, but cheese never reappeared. By now the little people were growing weak from hunger and stress. All was getting tired of just waiting for their situation to improve. Oh, sorry, I keep yawning. He began to see that the longer they stayed in their cheeseless situation, the worse off it would be. All knew they were losing their edge. Finally, one day, Hall began laughing at himself. Oh, look at us. He kept doing the same things over and over again, and wonder why things don't get better. If this wasn't so ridiculous, it would have been even funnier. Oh did not like the idea of having to run through the maze again, because he knew he would get lost and have no idea where he would find any cheese. But he had to laugh at his folly when he saw what his fear was doing to him. He asked him, where did we put our running shoes? It took a long time to find them, because they had put everything away, and they had found their cheese at Cheese Station C, thinking they wouldn't need them anymore. As Em saw his friend getting into his running gear, he said, "You're not really going into the maze again, are you? Why don't you just wait here with me until we put the cheese back?" "Because you just don't get it," Hoss said. "I didn't want to see it either, but now I realise they're never going to put yesterday's cheese back. It's time to find new cheese." Em argued, "But what if there's no cheese out there? Or even if there is, what if you don't find it?" "I don't know," Hoss said. He had asked himself those same questions too many times and felt the fears again and kept him where he was. He asked himself, where am I more likely to find cheese? Here or in the maze? He painted a picture in his mind. He saw himself venturing out into the maze with a smile on his face. While this picture surprised him, it made him feel good. He saw himself getting lost now. He saw himself getting lost now and then in the maze, but felt confident he would eventually find new cheese out there and all the good things that came with it. He gathered his courage. Then he used his imagination to paint the most believable picture he could, with the most realistic details of him finding and enjoying the taste of the new cheese. He saw himself eating Swiss cheese with holes in it, bright orange cheddar and American cheeses, Italian mozzarella and wonderfully soft French camembert. Then he heard him say something and realised they were still at Cheese Station 3. Hoss said, "Sometimes, things change, and they are never the same again. This looks like one of those times. That's life. Life moves on, and so should we." Hall looked at his emaciated companion and tried to talk sense to him, but Em's fear had turned into anger of cheese around him, hoping it would help him to smile, lighten up, and go after the new cheese. But Henry didn't want to see it. It read, "If you do not change, you can become extinct." Then Haw stuck his head out and peered anxiously into the maze. He thought about how he got himself into this cheeseless situation, and had believed that there may not be any cheese in the maze, or he may not find it. Such fearful beliefs were immobilizing and killing him. Haw smiled. He knew him was wondering who moved my cheese, but Haw was wondering why didn't I get up and move the cheese sooner. Move with the cheese sooner. As he started out in the maze, Haw looked back where he had come from and felt its comfort. He could feel himself being drawn back into familiar territory. Even though he hadn't found cheese here for some time, Haw became more anxious and wondered if he really wanted to go out into the maze. He wrote a saying on the wall ahead of him and started and stared at it for some time. What would you do if you weren't afraid? He thought about it. He knew sometimes some fear can be good. When you're afraid, things aren't going to get worse. If you don't do something, it can prompt you into action. But it's not good when you're so afraid that it keeps you from doing something, anything. He looked to his right, to the part of the maze where he had never been, and felt the fear. Then he took a deep breath, turned right into the maze, and jogging slowly into the unknown. As he tried to find his way, Haw worried at first that he might have waited too long in cheese station C. He hadn't had any cheese for so long that he was now weak. It took him longer and it was more painful than usual to get through the maze. He decided that if he ever got the chance again, he would get out of his comfort zone and adapt to change sooner. It would make things easier. Then Haw smiled a weak smile as he thought